Hi, my name is Melissa Clark, and I'm here to speak with you today about religious freedom. Societies throughout the world approach religion differently. America, being a multi-ethnic country, separates religion from the state. Doing so allows people from different religious backgrounds to coexist and avoid conflict. Other countries around the world perceive America as being non-religious, and that's not really true. By having a narrow approach to religion, this can result in political and social conflicts. Matters concerning religion have existed throughout history. Literature throughout history has documented this. These works have documented how different societies have approached religious matters. And three examples of these works are John Winthrop, Rip Van Winkle, and the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. Past regimes did not uphold religious choices. For instance, in monarchies, kings imposed religious practices on people. A common agreement reached by these three pieces of literature is that religion is more of a personal matter, and respecting each person's religious choice is very important. The modern American society approaches religion as a culture, appreciating different religious backgrounds and promoting religious freedoms. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution covers freedom of religion. It also states that the government should not give preference to any religion over non-religion. Despite what the Constitution states, there is still a struggle for religious freedom in America. Conflicts on religious freedom is further intensified by hatred placed on certain faiths by society. Despite all the issues challenging religious beliefs, religious freedom should be safeguarded and strengthened by governments and laws. Per the United States Constitution, everyone has a right to exercise their religious beliefs without government interference. It is every person's right to seek the truth without coercion and abide by what's in their conscience. John Winthrop, Rip Van Winkle, and the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin are all expressions of religious liberty in America. In the Rip Van Winkle narrative, Winkle's wife denied freedoms and she dictated everything that he did. Her constant nagging drove him out of the home and into the mountain one day. And while he was there, he fell asleep. He woke up to find that 2 decades had passed and his wife had died. He experienced freedom since he no longer had someone restricting him of his freedoms. The story symbolizes the American transformation before the Revolution and the freedom they enjoyed after the Revolution. The American Revolution took place while Winkle was asleep. So, when he woke up, it was over, and everyone in America had religious freedom. And at the same time, Rip Van Winkle also had freedom. In John Winthrop, the Puritans left New England because the king restricted their religious freedoms. They began the Massachusetts Bay Colony so that they could carry out their religious activities without restrictions. Despite being in America, a country that has religious freedom, the Puritans could not stand anyone that had different religious views than them. Roger Williams was a religious radical in Massachusetts. He stood against the oppression of the Puritans by advocating their rights. He argued for a separation of the church and the state. Williams significantly contributed to religious freedom. People now have the right to choose and worship what they deem right per their conscience. And the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin also articulates religious freedom. Despite Benjamin Franklin growing up in a religious family, he did not embrace Christianity. He used an approach that just ensured that he lived a virtuous life. According to Franklin, a good American is someone who should live in an innocent life and base their faith in one God. The three publications all depict religious freedom. The death of Rip Van Winkle's wife alludes to America's Revolution, which saw the end of oppression and was symbolic to Winkle's freedom. In John Winthrop, Williams's fight against oppression of the non-Puritans gave people the freedom to worship and exercise their religious beliefs. According to Benjamin Franklin, a good American is one who lives a virtuous life and believes in only one supreme God. Throughout the years, religion has had both positive and adverse effects on American society. Freedom continues to be a main priority in the United States. All political parties have devoted a great deal of time and resources to religious issues. Today, when Americans define freedom, they think of the freedom of press, speech, and the freedom of religion. All religions want to capture government attention. They want to ensure that the government includes their concepts in administration and lawmaking. Here's an example of that. On August 30th, 2019, the Islamic Society of North America, and I'll be referring to that as the ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, held an annual 4-day convention in Houston, Texas. The convention was held to discuss social and political agendas. The occurrence of the annual convention attracted some very influential speakers. The Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Julian Castro, and also presidential candidate Bernie Sanders were there. This year's convention had the largest turnout of any event ever held by Muslim American advocacy groups. Organizers made the comment that they aim to be a force of reckoning in the 2020 presidential elections. Now, with no religious freedom, religions such as Muslim would not be able to have these conferences. Their religion has commonly been associated and related to crime and terrorism, so it just wouldn't be allowed. With religious freedom, people are confident and free to express their religious issues without fear or prejudice. Seeing presidential candidates such as Bernie Sanders addressing the congregation is a clear indication that religion has taken up a new level in the American society. President Trump held an event at the UN Summit, and he called that event the Global Call to Protect Religious Freedom. At the summit, he found it essential to discuss religious freedom instead of climate change. Now, climate change has been a big issue for a few years, and there have been lots of protests recently about climate change. And at first Trump had said that he was going to speak about climate change, and everybody expected that, but he decided that it was more important to speak on religious freedom. And at this event, Vice President Pence made a statement. Pence said, "America is a nation of faith, and we will always stand for the freedom of religion of every person, of every race, of every creed, to live, to work, to worship according to the dictates of their conscience." The religious-based events prove that the fight for religious freedom is still very real in modern American culture. with such influential speakers being present at these events, and given the statement made by the event organizers, it shows that religious freedom influences the future occurrence of social and political events. The President and the Vice President of the United States are heavily involved in religious matters. This also proves that religious freedom is still at play in modern culture, and there is still a fight for religious freedom. America has a high level of democracy, particularly on matters concerning religion. By separating the state from religious matters, America wanted government to allow people to worship freely. After numerous social and political conflicts, America is ranked highly by those who enjoy religious freedom. America now embraces religious freedoms. America is now home to people of various ethnicities, races, cultures, and religious backgrounds. In his autobiography, Benjamin Franklin did not embrace Christianity, but he still led a virtuous life. And sometimes people just need to put away their religious beliefs and coexist with each other. Imposing religious beliefs on people can create tension and sometimes expose society to religious conflicts. Even in America, tension can exist. Usually that tension is through religious organizations. One example being the ISNA. Regardless, religion remains a fundamental right. Countries across the world need to observe that right. With the current state of globalization, the future will likely create an entirely diverse society. The time to promote the appreciation of differences in people is now. It is crucial to promote coexistence and harmony, even in the light of different religious backgrounds.